Hello friends, welcome back to our YouTube channel Technical Speaks. In this specific video we are going to discuss about recursion in Java through an example, and later on in this video we will see how we can calculate a factorial of a number using recursion. So without wasting time, let's start the video. Very first, recursion in Java is a process in which a method calls itself continuously until it doesn't get to the base case or condition, and the method in Java that calls itself is called a recursive method. Using recursion, certain problems can be solved quite easily, like it is best used in sorting data structures for tree, graphs. In other words, we can say that instead of iteration, recursion makes the code short and simple. Let's see an example. Here we want to print numbers from 1 to 5. So in this case, our code would be like, create a class first, like public class recursion. Inside it, create the main method, public static void main string args. Here let declare n as int n is equals to 1 and call a method here like numbers n. And now create the method which we called just above, like static void numbers. Inside it, here we first have to define the base condition, which would be if n is equals to 6, and under the curly braces, here it simply means when the value of n becomes 6, the condition will be true and then return. And then what we want to print is first system.out.println, and inside the braces just pass n. It will basically print the first n number, which is 1, and then just add numbers n plus 1. Here the recursion happened as it calling itself, right? And the value of n now becomes n plus 1, which is 2 again. Then it goes and check the condition, which is 2 is equals to 6. So the condition is false and it will out from the loop and simply print the n value as 2. From here, system.out.println and pass n inside the braces. Similarly, next the value of n will be 3, and then 4, and then 5. When the value of n becomes 5, recursion will happen again and the value of n will become 6, right? Then it will go again for a condition check, which will be 6 is equal to 6. This time the condition is true and it will return. So at the end, on output side, you can see it prints 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So this is how recursion works in Java. One of the very important points we should always keep in mind is that while using recursion, we must have to use the base condition. Otherwise, without it, the recursion will continue and the memory will get full and get stack overflow, due to which it will cause error. So make sure we have a base condition while using recursion. Now let's code and see how we can calculate a factorial of a number using recursion. So now here first create the class like public class factNum, and inside it create the main method, which is public static void main string args. Inside it, let declare int type variable n to store the input number which the user will enter for getting the factorial. Also, we would need to declare one more static variable here at the top, like static int fact is equals to 1. We will see use of it later in this video. Now to get input from the user, we would need to use the scanner class. So for that, let import it first, like import java.util.scanner, and then here create the object of the scanner class like scanner sc is equals to new scanner. Inside the braces, pass the predefined method, which is system.in. Now here I am adding a print line statement to ask the user to enter input as system.out.println, and under the quotes just write enter any number, and then simply n is equals to sc.nextInt to store the number in the variable n. Now let's create the object of the class here like factNum f is equals to new factNum, and now let's call a method say f.calFact. Inside the braces just pass n. Now we would need to define this method which will be used for recursion. Let's see. Here I create int calFact. Inside it just pass int n, and now here we are going to use the logic of recursion to find the factorial of the number, so don't miss or skip this. First I am creating a condition that if n is greater than 1, then the value of fact will be fact is equals to fact multiply n, and after this call the recursive method like calFact n minus 1 and close it, and now after it just return fact. Let's try to understand here what exactly happened. First let user want to know the factorial of 5, so the value of n will be 5, right, as the input number will store in the variable n. Now in the if statement it will check the condition n is greater than 1. Here n is equal to 5, so the condition is true, and then the value of fact will be fact multiply n, which is 1 into 5, which is equals to 5. So now the value of fact becomes 5. Now from below line it will call the same method again as it is recursive method, and this time the value of n will be 4 as from calFact n minus 1, right. So the next time again it will check the condition which is 4 is greater than 1, condition is true, and then the value of fact will become 5 multiply 4, which is 20, as previously value of fact was 5 and now the value becomes 20, and after then it will again call the recursive method and the value of n will become 3. Same it will check condition and value of fact will become 20 multiply 3, which is equals to 60. Next the value of n will be 2. By calling again the recursive method, the condition is true, so the new value of fact will become 60 multiply 2, which is equals to 120, and finally it will return the value of fact. Next time when the recursive method call again, the value of n will be 1, and when it goes for condition check it will found false, then it will out from the loop and simply returns the fact. And what we have the value 120, right, and also this is the factorial of 5. So the final step we would need to print the value of fact. So to print this, just add a line of print statement in the main method like system.out.println, and inside the braces we would have to add like factorial of, here just add the n which will show the input which the user will enter, and then is equals to fact. So now it's time to run the program. So for that, first let's save it, open command prompt, compile it first like javac factnum.java. You can see it compiled successfully. Now run it, java factnum. You can see here it asks to enter any number. Let enter 10 and hit enter. So here you can see it is showing the factorial of 10 is 3628800. So this is how we can find factorial of any number using Java program easily. If you find this video helpful, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and for notification of such more tech videos hit the bell icon.